All right, so today we're going to do coach lesson 32 and 34. So just a quick review of some of the words that we have talked about this week and last week. We have mean, median, mode, and range. Your mean is your average. Your median is your middle number. Your mode is the number listed the most. And your range is the biggest number minus the smallest number. So the new ones for today are going to be mean, absolute deviation, and quartiles and interquartile range. So we're going to start with mean absolute deviation. And this is subtracting or finding the difference, the mean from each number in the data set. Then finding the average. So for our first example, we're going to find the mean, the median, the mode, the range, and the mean absolute deviation. And our data set is 2, 8, 5, 4, 5, 6, 3, 7, 8, and 2. And as always, your first step is to list from smallest to biggest. Two. So let's find the mode, the range, and the median, and then we'll end with the mean. So the mode, we see there are 2 2s, 2 5s, and 2 8s. So we're going to have 2, 5, and 8. Our range will be the biggest number minus the smallest number. So 8 minus 2, which will give us 6. And the median is our middle number. So we will have to cross out till we find our middle number. So our middle number is right here between 5 and 5. So we know our median is going to be 5. And the mean, we need to add all of them up and then divide by however many we are adding up. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, 9, and 10. When you add all of these up, you get 50 over 10. 50 divided by 10 gives you 5. So our mean is equal to 5. Now we'll need this to find our last part, which is the mean absolute deviation. So I quickly rewrote the data set for this problem. We know that the mean is 5. So we're going to take each one of these numbers and we're going to subtract 5 from it. So we're going to say 2 minus 5, 2 minus 5, 3 minus 5, 4 minus 5, 5 minus 5, 5 minus 5, 6 minus 5, 7 minus 5, 8 minus 5, 8 minus 5. So if you say 2 minus 5, we know we're going to get a negative number because 5 is bigger than 2. So we have to think of the difference between 5 and 2. So there are 3 in between them. So 2 minus 5 will give us negative 3 because this is what we have. We have 2 pluses, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 negatives. So we cancel them out. And what we're left with, we have 3 minuses. So that means that we're going to have negative 3. So that means this one is also going to be negative 3. Now for this one, we have 3 minus 5. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to cancel them out. And what we're left with will be our answer. So that's going to be negative 2. And then for this last one with the negatives, it's going to be 4. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they cancel out to be left with negative 1. 5 minus 5 is 0. 5 minus 5 is 0. Now we're back to regular territory. 6 minus 5 is 1. 7 minus 5 is 2. 8 minus 5 is 3, and 8 minus 5 is 3. So now we're going to have to take the absolute value to get rid of your negatives. So the absolute value of negative 3, remember, the absolute value just means that you're rewriting it as a positive number, whether it's positive or negative. The absolute value of negative 2 is 2. The absolute value of negative 1 is 1. The absolute value of 0 is 0. The absolute value of 0 is 0. The absolute value of 1 is 1. The absolute value of 2 is 2. The absolute value of 3 is 3. And the absolute value of 3 is also 3. Okay. Now the last step before we can finish this is we're going to take all of these numbers and we're going to find the average. So I will stop there. Okay. So now we're going to add all of these numbers up and divide them by 10. So we're going to say 3 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1 plus 0 plus 0 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 3. And we said that we're going to divide by 10 because we're adding up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 numbers. When you add up the numerator of this, you get 18 over 10, and 18 divided by 10 will leave you with 1.8. So the mean absolute deviation 1.8. All right, the other new thing for this lesson are called quartiles. So there are 4 vocabs. So we have quartile, which means that we are dividing the set of data into 4 equal parts. And those equal parts are going to be called the first quartile, which will be seen as Q1. And that's the median or the middle number. Of the lower numbers. And the opposite of the first quartile is going to be the third quartile, or Q3. And that's the median or the middle number of the upper numbers. And the last thing is going to be your interquartile range. And just like with regular range, you are going to be subtracting, but instead of the biggest minus the smallest, it's going to be the third quartile minus the first quartile. Which is IQR, and that's going to be Q3, or the third quartile, minus Q1. That gives you your interquartile range. And the second example for today, we're going to be finding these quartiles in the interquartile range. And the data set that we have is going to be 20, 25, 40, 50, 100, 25, 125, and 50. So the first thing that we do every time we see a data set is put it in order from least to greatest. So step one, put in order from least to greatest. So 20. Present another 20, so 25, 25, 40, 50, 50, 100, and 125. All right, I'm gonna pause here for a moment and let you guys write that. The next step is going to be to find the median. Remember, is your middle number. Okay, so I rewrote this on another piece of paper. So we need to find the middle number. Our middle number is going to be between 40 and 50. So that means that we're going to have to take the average of this. We add them up and divide it by 2. 90 over 2, which is basically, remember, 90 divided by 2, which will give us 45. So our median is 45. Let's write that right here. And so that splits up our data into our lower section and our upper section. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna do what we just did with the finding the median of the whole set with each part. So we're gonna find the median of the lower set, which is gonna be our quartile 1, and then the median of our upper set, which is gonna be quartile 2. So I'm gonna rewrite those numbers down here. Just those, so 20, 25, 25, 40. So it's gonna be halfway between 25 and 25. Well, there isn't a number between there. So our quartile 1 is 25. We need to do the same thing. So for step 4, it's gonna be to find Q3 or the median of the upper numbers. So I'm gonna bring those numbers down here. So 50, 50, 100, and 125. So halfway between it is gonna be between 50 and 100. So we need to say 50 plus 100 divided by 2. So it's 150 over 2, which will give us, your quartile 3 will be 75. Okay. The last step of this will be to find your interquartile range, which will be subtracting Q3 from Q1. Remember, that's IQR, which is Q3 minus Q1. So that's going to be Q3 was 75, Q1 was 25, so 75 minus 25, which gives us 50. So that is our inner quartile range. I'm gonna pause it there. The next step is going to be our box and whisker plot, which is just going to be taking this information that we have, the median, quartile 1, quartile 3, and making it into a graph. So I'm gonna pause it there for you guys to finish writing, and then we will do the information in a box plot or a box and whisker plot. So our box plot or our box and whisker plot, you will need the smallest number in the data set. And the smallest number in the data set from example 2 was 20. You will also need your first quartile, which is Q1, which was 25. You will need your median of the whole set, which we said was 45. You will need your third quartile, which was 75. And then you need your, like you needed your smallest number in the set, we need our biggest or largest. Which was 125. And remember, I just got these from this data set that we originally started with. So the 20, 25, 25, 40, 50, 50, 100, and 125. Okay, so now that we have our numbers, we're going to create a number line. Let's go from 20 to 130. So the first thing that we're going to want to do, I like to start with the smallest and the biggest. So above 20, I'm going to put a dot. It's going to be called the minimum or the smallest. And then the biggest number, which is 125, the maximum. Then my quartile 1, which was 75. So halfway between 70 and 80, I'm going to put a dot above it. Remember, this one is weird because it's going to go above the line, not in the line like other ones. So I'm going to say Q3. I'm going to put 1 at 45, and that's going to be our 45, which is going to be our median. And then at 25, which will be our quartile 1. So now that we have these 3 dots, what we're going to do is we're going to draw a line through Q1, the median, and Q3. Then you're going to connect the 3 lines to create a box. So that's the box. And your whiskers are going to be connecting Q3 to the maximum and Q1 to the minimum. And this is a box. And then those are your whiskers. Okay. So today we're going to be working with mean absolute deviation and box plots and quartiles. Okay, so please make sure that if you have any questions, you go back and watch it for anything else. Make sure that I see your notes for points at the end of this.